Hello everybody, welcome to Menorca Consciousness Group and to ethericweb.com. I'm quite excited about this live chat this evening with the very lovely and beautiful Lissi Hansen, and we're going to be discussing what it says on the post, multidimensional awareness, and looking at different aspects. So just relax and enjoy the show or the chat, whatever we'll call it. I've been really looking forward to inviting Lissi, and I know the energy's been building up all week for this one. So I think we're in for quite a treat. So if you are into multidimensional aspects, moving from the third dimensional reality to the fourth, to the fifth, etc., with your meditations or your channeling, your trance, going to the different vibrations of your higher self, your healing, etc., but also the connection to celestial star beings, spiritual guides, etc., and the channeling of them. We know we're in the throes of a change. We know the transition is taking place. At what point we're in it is anybody's guess. Are we just merged with it? Are we in the middle of it? Are we coming out the end of it? I think that's still open for debate. We'll probably have a chat about that. But it's more to kind of connect with those celestial beings, to those beings from other worlds, so to speak, other realms, other dimensions, other planes of existence. I'm hoping we're going to be able to touch on planes of existence, and so much more. So please, thank you so much for joining us. Relax, get yourselves a drink, and with that, we're going to invite the lovely Lissi Hansen for our live chat. Thank you so much.
Hello,
Lissi.
Colin. How are you?
Hi, Lissi. I'm well. Thank you so much.
Good. Let me move my camera back a little bit. That's better.
I've got to confess, I've been really looking forward to this. Really.
Yeah.
I look forward to them all, obviously, but this one, there was a magic take place. There was an energy moving, and the energy's been moving all week. And maybe it's because it's connected to the multidimensional aspect. So,
yes.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's all quite exciting.
Yes. So, if I may, Lissi, just to kind of go into it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because obviously you're a channel, you do light language,
sure.
etc. Do you lead groups, classes, doing readings? I don't, whatever you want.
Yes, I do many things. In fact, I could tell you a little bit about my journey. I sort of just wrote a little timeline down because I thought it might be quite interesting for other people who might be watching us to kind of know how quickly things have sort of sped up, because things are moving quite. So I've always been able to, but I didn't really know that I was channeling for a long time. I always felt like something was running through me, but I just didn't. I couldn't put my finger on it,
Yeah.
And then in say about 2021, I think I went to see a medium, and she was, or it might have been 2020, and she said to me, "Oh, do you know that you have psychic, you have psychic abilities? You could be a medium." And I said, "Oh, that's funny, because I've always felt like I get stuff coming. I didn't really know, and I'm fascinated with the subject,
Yeah.
So, so that was kind of the first point. 2000. I went to my first healing event, and at that healing event, I started channeling. But it's like sort of light language, frequency codes.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was able to do it. It was just something I could do whenever I sat down. I would go into meditation, it would just come out of me. And I started to realize that because it's more of a frequency language rather than just a light language, that I could actually use it for healing. It's extremely powerful when I use it for healing. Yeah. So I was doing that for a while. And then I was tapping into other light languages, and I didn't really know what was going on because I didn't have anyone around me that this was happening to. It was in like 2022. I hadn't tapped into anything yet. I wasn't even watching anything on you know, I was watching bits and bobs that were coming to me on Instagram and stuff, and I was fascinated when I saw that other people did light language. So I started to slowly put things together and get an understanding of what was going on, because at some point you could feel a little bit lost with it. You don't really know what's happening. And then soon after that, end of 2022, I was being drawn into doing a lot of grid work. So some people would talk about grid work, which is when we're sort of working on the Earth grid, clearing distortions and stuff like that. So that was happening a lot in my meditation. So I was talking to my guides. I was trying to work out who's who, you know, all this sort of stuff. And at the same time, I'm thinking, is this normal? Like, is this a thing, you know?
Of course.
So, but I just kept going with it because I felt like they kept sending me signs, and I would go on Instagram and there would be videos popping up of all of the things that I was tapping into. So, you know, all the synchronicities were kind of showing me that I was on the right track, you know? So that was cool. And then I actually started my Kundalini awakening, which I believe personally, for me, it has really sped everything up. So I've been going through that super fast compared to some people, and I'm sure we will touch on the subject of that anyway. And then 2023, I decided to start attending circles, because my friend who's a medium said, you should go to circles, you should do mediumship. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. So I started doing that. And then I realized on the first go that I could talk to spirit. It was the most surreal thing, because I'd never tried before, you know, it's just completely random. And so that was really great. And then I actually realized there's a thing where you can tune in to, we'll talk about this as well, where you can almost like, it's like you're changing the channel of a radio, you know, to go into the different things. So that was kind of a bit of a turning point for me. And then in 2024, I decided to get into trance and channeling, trance channeling. And then it was quite interesting, because when I got into that, I realized that all of the things that I'd learned previously were all meant to be learnt to end up in the trance channeling, because I needed all of the components of everything that I'd gone through to get there. And then so like the healing, because I do healing as well. I did a Reiki course. I finished my Reiki course. Obviously, I do the frequency healing, the mediumship, the channeling, the trance, the light language, the frequency languages, and the light codes, and then the Kundalini awakening was all part of the journey that I was supposed to be on. So that was just basically a short, brief kind of, you know, low down on what's been happening, and the fact that it's happened quite fast, I would say.
Definitely. It sounds, as you was explaining it all, because like you said, it's, even though you were referring to a specific topic, each one, healing, light language, trance, channeling, etc. It sounds quite simple and easy, doesn't it? But it's all the process in between, every day, the unfoldment, the various frequencies, what you're faced with and dealing with.
Absolutely.
As I was listening to you, I was thinking, this is like you've had a crash course since 2021 in, you know, to get to this point. And it's like, and it matches the frequencies, these cosmic frequencies of this change. Everything's speeding up. There's a couple of points what I'd like to ask you, like briefly about, first off, Lizzie, but before we do that, just want to say hello to everybody and welcome to everybody. Thank you, guys, for joining us. To Em, Chanda, Ingrid. Hi, Ingrid Hansen. You probably know Ingrid.
That's my sister.
Yeah, welcome, Ingrid. Lovely to see you. I won't ask you what you think about your sister being up here. You tell me later. Pauline, I create calm. Pauline does Pauline does daily meditations for MCG from 5 till 5:30. Thank you so much, Pauline. Francis, hi Francis. Francis is coming to do a crystal grid for us. Annie Claire. Wow. There's Annie Claire. Annie's doing our moon phase community, which is amazing, guys. It's open to everybody, so keep watching for that. And hello, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. And Eloise Edwards. So, yeah, guys, and Emma Reed, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody else we can't see. So just quickly, if you guys have got any questions you'd like to ask, put them in the chat, because we're going to, in about 20, 30 minutes maybe, we're going to probably take some questions. So please put them in the chat, anything you'd like to ask. So, Lizzie, let's go back to some of this stuff, what you've just referred to. If it's okay, yes. I want to start off with the healing, because you was mentioning about healing in relation to light language. When you were saying healing, was you making, and light language, was it a reference to yourself, or is it light language healing with others? How does that work?
So the frequency language, so the frequency healing that I do is something that I channel.
Okay.
I think that it's coming from my soul template. It feels very much part of me. I think it goes way back to my original origin, which is Arcturian.
Right.
I've not really encountered many people who use that. It's very rare. So far, I've not really heard many other people do it. It's actually funny because in my circle last week, we're trying to get everyone to do light language, and one of the guys in my circle, Simon, he ended up doing the same frequency language as me, and a lot of people told him he should be a healer. So I said to him straight away, this is quite exciting because it's very powerful, this frequency language. So there's a difference between that and, for example, other light languages. I mean, they're all dialects, I suppose, in a sense, and they're all full of codes and frequencies. But they all come from different places, and sometimes I'm channeling many different things at the same time. Sometimes I'm just using the frequency language. Sometimes I'm doing hand signals, which is more like light codes.
So if somebody, I'm curious, because if, for example, there was somebody watching this and they thought, okay, I need some healing and this is resonating with me. Could they come to you to receive light language healing? Is that
essentially many people that do light language will be able to help in the healing process.
Got you. Okay.
Because what we're kind of doing is we're kind of tapping into the higher self and the awareness that is above our awareness, you know.
Get it.
So when I do that, when I use that frequency language, and now that I really narrowed down my skills in mediumship, it's quite interesting because I can tap into people's higher self, and it's like I'm having a conversation between their higher self and my higher self at the same time to work out what the issues are. Very interesting. So, but I think it's just going to keep unfolding, and it's going to keep building, and it's going to become something really quite amazing. The thing that I found is I put it aside for a little bit because I almost felt like that people weren't quite ready for it, you know. Physically, spiritually, you know, I could do a lot, but no, just the frequency healing, because I almost felt like there has to be a certain amount of awakening happening before people can be open to solving some of the riddles. Because some of the stuff is past life stuff. I agree. So there has to be a certain awareness about the elements of it all. Really,
it's almost like that old saying, isn't it? When the pupil's ready, the teacher will come.
Yes.
That's always fascinating me, because I always think, well, it also applies to the opposite way around. When the teacher's ready, the pupil will appear.
Absolutely.
It's like,
so, but also, I was very much told by my guides that I had to pick between doing the trance work and doing the healing work. I couldn't do both at the same time. They said to me, "You got to pick one for now, and then eventually, you know, you'll bring that back round." Correct. But right now, you need to focus on one, so pick one. So obviously, I picked the trance, the mediumship.
Brilliant.
So
I love it. This is what an amazing story. And in such a short space of time, I'm finding this so funny. It's like,
Honestly, it was like, okay, we got you. It basically, I started meditating in the first lockdown,
Right.
and I was just doing these because I wasn't very good at meditation. I just thought I really want to do it, and I didn't have anything to do. And like 3 months at a time, I wasn't allowed to work, whenever we had a lockdown. So I started putting these guided meditations on YouTube and I would just lay down and I would just go through them. And then all these amazing things started happening. And then after I went to that healing event, that was it. It kicked it all off. So I went to this thing. It was called an immersion, and it was Sophie and Joe was running this healing event, and they just did an amazing job cracking me open. So
this is what it's about, isn't it?
Wonderful.
It's cracking you open further. So
yeah, it was really like the catapult of the kind of multi-awareness that happened within that healing event. Yeah,
I'd like to sorry, go. Sorry.
No, go on.
I would like to cover this aspect of when you mentioned the grid, because a lot of people often, some, because the grid's not often mentioned.
No.
But it's becoming, like everything, it's becoming more prominent.
Yes.
I have a bit of a specific interest in the grid, without saying too much. But I'm when you mention the grid, it's like, okay, so can you tell us about what goes on? How you kind of work with that, harmonize or tune with it, and what you're doing?
So I think okay. So the way that I would describe it is almost like if you imagine a tapestry all around the world, and everybody is basically part of this tapestry of this Earth grid. So if you imagine a grid and it goes all the way around Earth, every person is tapped into the grid. So everyone's emotions, everyone's traumas, everyone's past lives, everything is basically tapped into the grid. That's how I see it. It's like a multi-dimensional grid, and we're all tapped into it. So as let's say we're going through now an awakening, I think everybody on Earth is feeling a shift. There's many things that are coming to the surface on the grid that needs to be cleared. So there might be a lot of distortions around certain issues. It could be anything like anger, hate, race, crime, all sorts of different distortions that have been stuck in the grid for a long time. And certain light workers are being called to help do the grid work, to help release some of the distortions that are in the grid so that we can open the grid up. And once we open the grid up, I feel like it's almost like we're freeing ourselves, but we're also freeing Mother Earth, and we can all resonate at the same frequency.
Love it. Absolutely love it. The reason why I've paused at this point with the grid is because I refer to it as the etheric web, which is the grid, etheric grid. It's like a net around the air.
Yeah, basically.
And it's a vacuum of energy, and in that vacuum are the thoughts of humanity. All of our thoughts from any incarnation on this planet is in that grid. And the ones you've just described so beautifully, which is, let's say, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I was inspired years ago to kind of investigate the grid itself, the etheric, and then look into what the ether is, or look into the ether and look into what it actually is. And one thing, without opening it up too much, one thing what's come out of it is, if thought is a living energy, and if we don't utilize that thought in a meaningful way, so if we picture a single thought as a single particle of energy, it can be, we can picture it as anything, but as an example. So each thought we have, we've created, and therefore we need to utilize it. If we don't utilize it, it's going to go out into our etheric body around our as part of our 7 bodies, or that energy is going to go out into the etheric grid, and that can cause disturbances. That can cause disturbances in the grid. So the grid's got to be, I wouldn't say the grid's got to be, how would we put this? Definitely it's got to be, the energy what's in it has got to be transformed. It's all got to be kind of cleared or purified. Any old negative, suppressed emotions, thoughts, what's gone out into that space, because obviously it's clearly having an effect on your humanity. As that process of the cleansing, like you're saying, grid work and grid workers, as that process takes place, then the light of the world starts, well, doesn't start, but continues to shine brighter. And therefore, we continue on this path of awakening what's taking place. So that's why I wanted to kind of pause at this grid aspect.
I know.
So I want to move on now because there's so much more I want to get into.
It is fascinating, and there isn't I mean, I think once you have an awareness about something, then like I said, if you're working with your guides and stuff, they will send things through to you, and you'll get more and more synchronicities with information, which is what happened to me. But the grid work, there's not a lot of people talking about it, but the people that are talking about it are doing amazing work, honestly. And I would say that most of that work is done in meditation.
I would agree.
But it can also happen that sometimes you're on a public transport and you're being called to do it or even in a public forum sometimes. We're gonna obviously be doing another one of these things where I'm going to be channeling, not on this call, but on another one where it's going to be more about light language and all this kind of stuff. And on there, I essentially, if I'm doing light language and I'm clearing certain patterns and codes and bonds, contracts, agreements, all this stuff. Essentially I'm doing grid work at the same time. So whenever I'm doing those sorts of things, I'm removing distortions, I'm working on the grid. So even in my circle, we've been doing light language, we've been channeling through trance, and even that is doing grid work. While we're doing that, when we're clearing ourselves and each other, we're working on the grid. So we're all actually coming together to do it together.
Yeah, I think
is what I explain to my students, and I don't think they quite understand it. But,
well, I was just going to say, because this is where it's all at, isn't it? You've got the minds what are conscious of it, and you've got the minds what are not. We're going to say it anyway, not awake yet, but you've still got the minds what are awakened, and they're on the path, consciously on the path, but they're not consciously aware that they're actually still doing work on the grid. Because I think once somebody awakens, then there's grid work taking place at all times with each one of them. Even though many of them may not be consciously aware of it. And what I find fascinating is when somebody becomes aware of clearing, and I'll use the term, that's why we call it etheric work. That's what our website stands for. It's to do with the grid and the web around the world. Once somebody becomes conscious of it, then of course we know their focus and their intention becomes a bit more powerful, and therefore they can clear it. The mind will have a tendency to clear it with a certain strength. There's like intensity behind that thought energy to help clear the grid. So
absolutely,
I'm really pleased we've touched on this area about the grid.
I mean, it even goes as far as just doing self-healing, going to breathwork events and, doing healing events and, just coming to terms with your own traumas and all this kind of stuff. Kundalini, because that takes you through a whole host of things. All of that also is, in a sense, grid work, because you're clearing your own stuff, so you're helping clear the grids. So
it's like it's here, the topic's here, so we can make reference to it. It's like we are clearing and purifying our own etheric body. Where everything has been stored. We say the subconscious mind. Part of the subconscious mind we know is connected to the chakras. Chakras are relating to the ether, and therefore it's related to the grid. So that internal work has got to be done. It's so important. So
absolutely.
Kundalini next. Now let's pause, because I've seen your sister's comment.
What's she saying?
Ingrid, I totally agree with you. I'm so proud of my beautiful sister. She's really fantastic. There she is. Ingrid, we agree. Totally. That's why we
I love
invited
my
her on.
sister. She's my biggest cheerleader.
Amazing. It's lovely to have you with us. Right, let's
She's
just
so lovely.
we're just going to have a quick look if I can get to the chat somehow. Let's have a look. How do I?
Let's do it.
And let's have we'll have a quick look at that. Then we'll get on to the Kundalini.
Yes.
So for those who are just late in joining us, hello. Thanks so much for joining us, wherever you are. And now then, I'm going to try and get my tongue around this. Hang on. Alsawa El Da. So, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. I'm not going to get that name right. I don't know. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. So, onward and forward. Let's talk about this Kundalini aspect.
Right.
Oh.
Well, I wrote something down, which I'd like to just read out.
Please do.
So it's just about the Kundalini. It's kind of a way of kind of understanding what it is, but in a very short kind of, and then we can chat about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically merging your physical body with your energetic light body through integration of the chakras. So we all know what the chakras are. Okay. Yeah. And we have many. We don't just have, some people say, oh, you only have 7 or 8. Actually, you have a lot more than that.
We've got 5 in my back pocket.
There's a lot, right? Yeah. And then it's as much a soul journey as it is dealing with physical symptoms. You're essentially becoming a new self, or you're remembering your true self. So I wanted to write that down because I think people don't really understand what it's about. And for me, it was very much about a journey into myself, not just through this life, but through many, many past lives. And it's really taken me on at times, quite a rough journey. But like the thing is as well, it's been very accelerated. So it's happened extremely quickly for me. And I'm pretty much near the end, I think. So I'd say maybe...
Is that wishful thinking?
2-3 years. Maybe it goes on, who knows, but like I know that my chakra systems are like, because I use them all the time for different things. So like when I do mediumship, my heart chakra turns on, and that's how I know where I'm going, these kind of things.
Got you.
My third eye, when I channel, it's tick 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 ticks away, so things are properly online now, but I'm sure there's many levels to it. We'll have to see what happens, but certainly this level, very fast sped level, but some people, they could be going through it all of their lives. And I think some of it is, if you're afraid to deal with some of the traumas or the things that, you're not willing to look at, can kind of hold you back from moving to the next level. You've got to be kind of brave.
You've got to break through them, haven't you? Because they're the ones what are the most stagnant, and the ones what are can be the most difficult to move and dissolve.
Yes.
So before you get that breakthrough, I get it. Yeah.
So like, for example, like there's a thing called the dark night of the soul. I don't know. Have you experienced this?
This old chestnut.
I'm telling you, that was not fun. But afterwards, once I completed the level, I understood that there's no way that I would be in the place that I'm at now, able to do all the things that I can do now, all the things I can tap into now wouldn't have happened if I hadn't allowed it and resolved that particular thing. It was quite traumatic, but at the same time, I just pushed it down for so long that it just really needed to come out. So they were showing
I get this, and it's a good point, isn't it? It's a really good, the dark night of the soul, the journey to the dark night of the soul, the transition through it and the transitioning out of it itself is a a whole experience, a singularity of its own.
It's like a liberation of your soul.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
how I could explain it, you know.
Yeah, and I would 100% agree. I mean, it's a beautiful way of, when we do the letting go process, that's the same. It's to liberate the light of the soul. It is liberation. I mean, a spiritual awakening is liberating, but true liberation really, really comes through those most profound realizations. And those profound realizations, when we're talking about true, authentic realizations, they only come when we tap into the frequency, the pure frequency of our own soul.
Absolutely.
That's a true, authentic realization. Then we come out with that sense of knowing of whatever we're thinking in that moment in time. And I think this is where I like this relation to the Kundalini aspect, you know, the channels and the vacuum through the Kundalini with all the energies in that ascension process, so to speak. What fascinates me is, and you touched on this, Lissi, you mentioned it earlier, and this is where I wanted to come on to the Kundalini. When you said, after the Kundalini experience, things seem to accelerate for you.
Yeah.
Things seem to speed up. And I think I've got to probably, I'm going to encourage people here. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to hold back on this one. I'm going to encourage people, even though the Kundalini's got to be treated with the most utmost respect and the most profound respect and caution. And if somebody doesn't know what they're doing and don't understand it, then talk to somebody who's experienced it in a proficient way and go and do it. And put yourself, even if it feels like it's the dark night of the soul, put yourself through that, because it's just that the dark night of the soul is the letting go process itself. It's the transformation of the inner energy. But the outcome is into it. Everything is refined. All the senses are refined. We're going to say hello to Shanti. Hi, Shanti. Thanks for joining us. It's like when we do the Kundalini, we come out of it, everything is refined. The sensitivity is refined. So therefore, our healing has got a greater pure light to it. The mediumship is clearer. Our intuition is remarkable. You know, our instinct kicks in, sensing through all the channels and all the vessels, and what we call the chakras, the vortices and wheels. Everything's heightened, isn't it? So it's like, and then you go, okay, what am I going to do with this? And our guides are saying, full steam ahead, just get on with it. Don't let any obstacle stand in your way. Obliterate any obstacle from what's, you know, what in front of you. I've always had this rule: I do not do obstacles or hurdles. I don't do them. You know, if there's a reflection in them, what I need to see about myself, generally I've got that covered, because I do, on a regular basis, I do self-analysis. It's part of my path. It's always been part of my kind of practice, if you like, personal spiritual practice. Self-analysis, it replaces any obstacles, because often obstacles and hurdles are placed in front of us for us to have a look at if there's something we need to see. If we do self-analysis, if we do self-analysis on a regular basis, we're countering that. We're actually sorting and dealing with whatever issue we need to, and not just rectify, but improve upon. Let's put it that way. So the hurdles and obstacles, for me, boom, out of the way. There's one way, that's forward and upwards. And it's like, and this is what the guides want. Instead of this long, slow pace, which is of a lower frequency, and it's a denser energy, and it holds us back, as you know. And therefore, once we've done the Kundalini, everything sparks up. The frequencies are alive, liberation, freedom, you know, the sense of meaning and purpose is around us and permeating the space of our awareness and consciousness. And it's like, let's get on with this. We've come here to do something, let's get on with it. And we sparks up in such a beautiful way. It's almost, and we can use a Buddhist context where that light is almost like an indestructible aspect. There's no stopping it, you know, and we know the soul is indestructible. So all we're going to do is and we can use the Kundalini process, get ourselves to take our own awareness into the light of our soul, clear all the dross and the garbage, transform it, because obviously that's what we are. We're transformers of energy, ultimately. We look for these labels and everything. It's like, well, actually, guys, we're just transformers. You know, there's no big about it. We're just transforming energy every single day. We're doing it. So let's trip the light while we're doing it and feel that joy and that love from those higher vibrations, which then taps in to where we're going in a minute, which is the multidimensional frequencies. You know, them guys don't mess about. They have a thought and they act on it. You know, it's just down here in this dense vehicle slugging around and going, oh, shall I outside? It's like, spirit going, get that out of the way. You know, just bang, off you go. You've tripped me. I've started tripping, Lizzie.
I know, honestly, it's so funny because this is what happens when you get passionate about something. But they're always reminding me, and I want to say this to everyone who's listening and who's going to watch this, that we are divine, sovereign beings of light. And they are always putting that into my thoughts, you know. And I think we came here to remember, you know, we came here to remember who we are, that we're creators, you know. So the systems are obviously not set up like that. They're not set up like that for a reason. But that's why we're here. We're having these conversations. We're sharing this energy and the frequencies and the codes through our words to help people awaken themselves, you know, so that we can change the way that we live, the way that we treat Mother Earth, you know, the frequencies, and become a better place with, you know, better people and a better life.
In the stillness of the soul, everything just is.
Yes.
Exactly, including exactly what you've just said. We can't avoid it. We are the light, and there's nothing wrong in saying it. It's not coming from an egotistical point of view.
No, not at all.
It's simply stating a logical, clear fact that we are beings of light. We're emanations, exactly as you've described, and there is a divinity, a divine energy to who we truly are. Celestial beings. You know, we're the beings we've been looking for.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's it. Shall we take some questions? What do you think?
I know, right? Let's have
a look at these questions. Kanda, what's wrong with me? If I don't feel any transition symptoms, should I learn one of the light languages or start to learn trance, channeling, mediumship? There you go. Off you go. Over to you then, Lizzie. What do you think?
I get this one, do I? I get the easy one, yeah.
That's too hard for me.
I mean, it's a tricky one, right? Because we all have our own journey. Our soul has its own expression, its own hurdles. But I do think there's a lot in pushing yourself and trying new things and seeing what resonates with you. And just because you're not having any symptoms, it doesn't mean that your awareness is not changing, that you're not progressing and you're not growing and learning, because we all are all the time. And also, I get this message all the time that everybody is at the right place at the right time. You know, there's no such thing as, oh, I'm behind or I'm ahead. You know, there is just the present moment. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Exactly right now in the present moment. So sometimes we also need to not give ourselves a hard time, because I think we spend a lot of time with self-criticism. Self-talk is extremely important, and I really found that through the last 3 years. I've always been good with self-talk all my life. I had an experience when I was like 18, and it was kind of like a life and death experience. And from that moment on, I was like, right, that's it. Every time something happens to me, I'm gonna look at it in a more kind of analytical kind of way and say, what can I learn from this? Yes, it's not what I like, it's not something I've enjoyed, but what can I make from it? You know, how can I think of this in a way of growing rather than carrying it like some sort of, you know, terrible thing. So we do need to be careful of our self-talk. And actually, I really had to talk to myself about my self-talk quite a few times.
Yeah.
Because we do it all the time. We become so critical. And when the more critical we are within ourselves, the more critical we are with the world outside of ourselves. And the more you're pulling in things that you might not like. Because
Brilliant
it's
point.
trying to show you to love yourself. You have to love yourself.
Yeah.
So I know that was a bit of a roundabout answer to your question, but just keep pushing forward and try new things, and love yourself.
Yeah, I agree. No, beautiful answer, Lizzie. Love it. I was looking at it and I was thinking, maybe we should start off with a question with looking at the question is transition symptoms. And then so we could say, okay, what are transitions? What are the symptoms of this transition? We can often feel lethargic. We can feel low, almost bordering on depression. We can feel physical conditions, physical ailments, because our physical body is transmutating. So, and it's becoming lighter. Our eating patterns, diets, etc., they're changing. Eating less food because we don't need it, because the light is giving us energy. So there's the prana aspect to it, i.e., the energy. So, the common ones are, feeling nauseous, headaches, and all this sort of thing. These are all aspects of transition symptoms, and obviously, predominantly in our field of energy. They're the big ones, Chanda. When we can sense our field of energy changing and transforming, which I'm sure you've probably encountered some of the things I've already said anyway, then you actually experience the transition symptoms. I would say potentially, and she probably knows what I'm going to say, go into a meditation, empty your mind, and invite spirit, make them sincere requests to your spiritual guides to guide you to analyze and view and observe who Chanda is today compared to who Chanda was 5 years ago. And you'll see that the transition is like probably laid out in front of you in so many areas of your life. So, and as for, should I learn one of the light languages, learn trance, channeling, mediumship? I always say, first one is open up to a certain degree with the correct conditions, and ask your guide, see what your guide tells you to, or where they guide you to. You don't even have to ask them. Let them do it. Let it come naturally from their side. But you've got to use your intuition. You've got to go with that first thought when they bring it and go, mediumship, I'm off that direction. Healing, I'm off that direction. We have a tendency, most people, that is they have a clouded sense of intuition. And the reason being is because they get the first thought and they follow it up with a second thought, which is indecisiveness. They doubt it and they question it. So then all of a sudden you've got 3-4 thoughts taking place and your intuition is sinking back. So in the event, what happens is the more we question things in this aspect, we've just lost that pure intuition. It's just gone buried inside us again. So what we've got to do is train our mind and go, okay, this is my first thought. It's either mediumship, channeling, or trance. I'm going with that. Once we do that, your path will start clearing mentally and energetically, and spirit will make sure to guide you. So anyway, let's go to some more questions.
Just a little side note. I always would say, follow your desire. Follow wherever your heart wants to take you, and it will always take you the right way.
Yeah, perfect.
What's the next question? What have we got?
5 years ago, I was eating raw vegan food, and now I eat fast food. Does this mean I'm going back? What do you think, Lizzie? Is she going back? Because now she's eating fast food instead of raw vegan.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're definitely not moving forward, it seems. Yeah, I mean, if you just said that you changed your diet to, maybe just eat meat again, I probably wouldn't say that that's a step back, because maybe your body needs it and your body often will tell you what you need. But fast food, it's definitely not. it's not high energy food, you know, it's not the sort of food that's going to help us with our ascension process, you know.
Should that be the other way around? Now I eat food fast.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully.
So, if we can just hold that question, because I want to just chuck something in there. I'm curious here. On a serious note, then. 5 years ago, eating raw vegan food. Was there a specific health reason why you stopped eating raw vegan food? And did you just jump onto fast food as some kind of quick fix? Because a lot of people eat fast food, we know, for various reasons. But a couple of them are, it's a comfort. It's like a comfort food. Food can be a comfort.
It's very addictive, isn't it? It's very addictive. It has a lot of stuff in it that makes it super addictive.
Yeah, and at the same time, you could be eating fast food because of, you know, your lifestyle, not having enough time to cook, not, you know, and sit down and eat, etc. So it doesn't mean you're going back, Chanda, at all. It just means in that area, maybe there must have been a reason why you was eating raw food, a reason why you stopped, and maybe now you just need to assess it again, especially if you feel more healthy at this minute, and just readdress it and see if you can get onto a more, and I'm cautious here. I have to be cautious because of the food I eat, even though I stay away from fast food. And just have a look at things. Brilliant. Okay, let's go to the rest of the questions. And Lamia, how would you pronounce that, Lizzie?
I can't see it because I'm on the phone. So
right. If I feel like I have a blockage, this is the name I can't. I'm so sorry I can't pronounce that name. I would love to. You're going to have to come on and tell us how to pronounce it. If I feel like I have a blockage, how do I overcome this? My name is, I'm going to say Lamia. Hi, Lamia.
Oh, okay, Lamia.
Right. If I feel like I have a blockage, how do I overcome this? Lizzie?
What kind of blockage are we talking about? Energy, moving forward, like?
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Lamia, if you put what type of blockage you've got, then we can focus in on that, if that's okay. Question. My awareness of cosmic species began in 2020 as well. Is this commonly seen among others as we've missed a part? Is this common? Okay, we've missed a part of your question, Oh, hang on. Have you seen this found in others? As well, Ruth. Right, hi Ruth. I became more aware of cosmic beings 2020 as well. Similar time span as yours, Lizzie. Have you seen this found in others? So I think what Ruth is asking is, do you think there's more people?
I'm going to say that I think the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was kind of, you know, trapped inside in some sense. Yeah. Okay, it gave us a lot more time for introspection, and I think that energetically on the planet, and also just the fact that we were spending a lot more time with ourselves, it kind of sparked off this kind of awakening that we're in. I would say it was the beginning of it. Obviously, people like me, I've always been very open-minded. I've always believed in it. I've always known that I was from another planet, to be honest. When I was a kid, I used to sit and look out my window and I'd be like, I'm not from here. You know, like, what am I doing here? This is weird. So I've always known, but I just never used to talk to anyone.
I'm trying not to make a comment on this.
Honestly, I just never used to talk to anyone about it. I used to just keep it to myself. So, but obviously, by the time 2020 came, you know, a lot more awareness came in. And I think a lot of people kind of woke up, if you want to call it that, you know. And you definitely saw like things opening up a lot on social media. More and more people were posting about these type of subjects, you know. So
it was an interesting time, wasn't it? I would say so as well, Ruth, definitely. Between 2019, when COVID first hit, into 2020 and 2021, that was clearly because I go with cosmic waves, and for me, I've always spent time interpreting the waves as they're coming in, and it's not that I'm watching out the window, I'm feeling them as they're coming through. So it's like, okay, so then I analyze them, dissect them, and see what the kind of find the truth, what's in there. And between 2019, 2020, 2021, we can safely say, even if you put COVID, the lockdown, global lockdown to one side for a minute, there was a wave in. There was a
wave, yeah.
Yeah, and that brought that kind of instilled no, it caused a reaction. It caused a chemical reaction. If we look at it for what it actually is, when a wave comes in, we've got to remember it's a wave of energy. And as it comes through, sweeps through the planet and then through our auric field, and then our physical body and all our other bodies, it causes a reaction. And from that reaction, depending how powerful it is, that then causes the psychic expansion, i.e. the expansion of consciousness. And in that expansion, we've got the ascension as well. And that then opened up people's minds and awareness to celestial and cosmic beings. On probably the biggest scale what's been known, potentially maybe in about 50 years, I would say. That was a very significant one.
That was a much better explanation than the one I gave.
Well, yours is equally as important. As equally as important, Lizzie. Oh, beautiful question, Ruth. Yes, I think Ruth is actually a cosmic being, to be honest. And because she's got the energy of, Ruth has got that most beautiful, amazing presence about her, as if she herself is an observer of us dense human beings playing around with something we shouldn't be playing around with. You know, jokingly, obviously.
I would say that I would probably speculate that most people who believe in other beings from other planets probably are from other planets.
Yeah. Well, so, I would go along with it, Lizzie. In fact, I would go one further. And I would say, clearly we are all cosmic beings, because if we was to be standing on another planet right now, looking out into space and the cosmos, and we could see the Earth, we would see these other beings on this planet. You know, I mean,
of course, yeah.
You know, I mean, as far as our evolution is concerned, that's a different story and different, conversation. Sometimes we don't think we've evolved at all. You know, so, but yeah.
Yeah, we're many different species down here.
Yes. Yeah, that's not one of us. We see them all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm not opening this one. All right, go on.
No.
Next one, Eloise. Hi, Eloise. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see you.
Hello.
Would love to know more about Kundalini. About 6 months, I have kept hearing it in a meditation. Lizzie, this is yours.
Okay, more about Kundalini. So let's see. So basically, I mean, I don't know what I haven't kind of already said about it, but yeah. I could tell you a bit about my journey with it.
Yeah.
So my journey with it sort of started meditations. I could feel that things were sort of switching on, certain chakra centers were kind of turning on. And I was doing a lot of self-healing because at the time I was using quite a few healing modules. So one of them, the Reiki one, you had to do self-healing for, can't remember how long it is. It's like 30 days or 60 days or something like that. Okay. So you have to do it every day. So I was doing that. And then that was obviously also activating things all the time and clearing stuff in my body all the time. So I was kind of peeling the layers. Like Kundalini is kind of like peeling the layers of an onion. I know everyone knows this expression, but it's quite a good one. And it's sort of, as much, like I said, as much as it's a physical journey, because you have the physical symptoms of Kundalini, it's also very much an emotional journey, because you're having to work through a lot of things. You're having to let go of a lot of things. I do think that it also creates, as you become a different frequency, a lot of things in your life may also change. It's not just you. Well, it's you, but it's basically your frequency. And when you change your frequency, then the things and the people around you may no longer serve you. So I also went through that. There's a journey of rediscovering yourself as a different self. And when that happens, not everybody can come with you. Not everything can come with you. So you're having to let go a lot of people, of a lot of things. And you're constantly letting go. It's like you said, Colin, it's a state of surrender. You're having to go into a state of surrender. Some of my physical symptoms were, laying in bed and just shaking uncontrollably. Some of it was not that nice, and it would come on and off and on and off. And then I started getting this, they call it like the yoga breath. Like that was happening to me a lot. So when the energy is surging, I learned to control it through my breath, basically, the surge of the kind of, where there's a thing that happens when they say that the fire rises inside of you. And that happened in my meditation. The fire kind of rises inside of me.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, it's surging, and it happens quite a lot. But what I find now, I think what's happening is it's almost like it's transmuting. It's always transmuting,
That's
not
right.
just me, but around myself, like people, other people. It's constantly working on energy fields outside of my own energy field.
Yeah.
So it goes quite deep. It's something that and we spoke about this. I feel that you should do cautiously. You shouldn't force yourself into it. I feel like it picks you, and it picks the right time.
Interesting.
Because it's quite a journey, and I think you've got to be mentally resilient for the journey.
Yeah. I would add to this, if it's okay. Eloise,
yeah, go for it.
Eloise, I think it's I absolutely love what you've written in its most simple form here. Because 6 months and you keep hearing about it in meditation. So it's almost like it's coming from your own soul.
Yes, agreed.
That's sending the signal out to yourself, Eloise, and in conjunction, if you like, with the celestial beings what are working around you with your energies. So there's a pure inspiration going on here with you at this minute, unquestionably. Like Lissi says, if it's there, it's there. So it's present. Funny enough that you mentioned this, and I have no intentions of this, so there's sprung one on me today. I'm looking at the calendar today, which I've got, and on the 21st of June, I have written Kundalini for a workshop on that day. So I think in minimum, if we're not going to do a talk on it, if we're not going to do, no, just watch this space. I won't say any more, Eloise, but we'll be following up with the Kundalini, because that's been coming in the last few weeks anyway from Spirit. So if we can fit it into that day.
Yeah, I do think it's coming up for a lot of people now, and I think a lot of people are ready for it. So I would say if it's coming up in your meditations, that's a sign,
Yeah.
Like you've got to follow the synchronicities, this is what we keep talking about.
Yeah, and don't be frightened of it, Eloise. Just
not at all.
I'm going to go for it. Like Lizzie's experienced it, gone through the process, and come out the other side. So this is the result of going through the Kundalini process. The Kundalini sometimes, I'm going to pause at that point. Watch this space, Eloise, because I don't want to say too much now. That we've still got questions. It's still going.
It's going to be great.
Yes, Lamia, we're back to the question, because I think moving forward. Thank you, Lamia. So how do we move the blockages in moving forward? That's the question. Kick them out of the way.
Honestly, I think most of it comes down to meditation, and like Colin was talking about, there has to be this sort of self-analysis going on, this observing yourself. Actually, that's one of the Kundalini things that happened was I started to observe everything from the outside, including myself, which was quite interesting. And I'm sure you get this a lot as well, that you're kind of able to kind of sit on the outside and just watch things unfold. And then you're like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, we can do that with ourselves as well. But you got to take action. There's got to be action. Action's pretty important. If there's no action, then nothing will change. Yeah. So I would say, I mean, it depends what kind of blockages we're talking about. We're talking about mental blockages, healing blockages, these kind of things. They all go in the direction of the blockages that you feel. If they're emotional blockages, maybe meditation and pondering upon why you feel blocked, why you can't move forward, what's causing it. I have a little exercise that I do. I'm happy to share it. It's very quick, to be honest.
Yeah.
I normally will close my eyes and so I'm going to do it. So I close my eyes.
Press pause. If everybody who's watching, if you want to do this, because I'm going to follow this one, if you want to do this, please do it. So everybody, if you want, close your eyes. Busy.
Okay. So close your eyes and then put your attention on your heart. Like, put your mind into your heart and feel the center of your chest. And can you feel the energy in your heart? You should hopefully be saying yes. And then once you're tuned into your heart, keep your attention in your heart. Your mind should be blank. And then if you have a specific question, you ask yourself the question while keeping your focus on your heart. And then you say, is the answer to this question yes or no? And you should get an answer. And then you can go a bit deeper. You can go, let's say it's yes. Okay, so let's just say it's yes. You go, okay, where did that come from? Why am I stuck in that pattern, for example? Like, where did that come from? Why am I stuck in this pattern? And then you're still focused on your heart. You should get an answer to why that's happened. And then once you can narrow down where it's coming from, then you should be able to solve the riddle, as to speak, on what's going on and why you're not able to move forward. And then you have clarity, and then you can move forward.
Everybody okay? Brilliant. Lizzie, thank you for that.
It's very easy, and the more you do it, the more you start to really feel the energy in your heart, because the energy in your heart is like a portal, I would say.
Yeah.
And it can pretty much take you anywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
Most of the reasons that we're stuck or we feel blocked or we're not moving forward is fear. A lot of it is fear-based, and it goes back sometimes to something that we were triggered about as well. So it could be caused by something in our childhood or whatever. And then once we acknowledge it, we can move on. Yeah. And then we change it. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I hope what was helpful to you, Lamia, and I really still hope I'm saying the right time. Just bear with us before we come to Lynn, because what I would like to say, I think we're still good for time. Are we still good for time, Lizzie?
Oh, yeah. I'm happy.
Right. So I'm going to just say something to everybody. Guys, stick with us, because we're going to do a second exercise, brief one, in a short while after we're taking more questions. And this one is, let's go to the questions.
Okay.
So, next question, sorry. Lynn Boyd. Guys, I hope you're okay. For those who are new and you just joined us, a lovely warm welcome. We've got the amazing Lissi Hansen. Absolutely stunning conversation and energies. What did you experience when you went through the dark night? And does it happen to everyone? I may have gone through this, but I'm not sure. I understand clearing and letting go. But how do you know if it had worked, and do we go through it a couple of times? Lynn, beautiful question.
It's a very good question, and I so knew this was going to come up. So, okay. So basically, for me, it was quite personal. It was about a childhood trauma that I had, something that I had basically pushed away all my life. I don't know how many years, probably, let's see, 39 years or something. I think I just kept telling myself, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And then what the Kundalini, basically, the dark night of the soul, was like, no, you've got to deal with this. You need to be honest about this. You need to speak about it. If you don't speak about it, you can't transmute it. And it was quite a big deal because it was a very personal matter. It was a family matter. It meant I had to gather my whole family together. So, you know, they were lovely. My siblings were absolutely amazing. They came to London, and you know, I asked them on short notice, and they were like, "Yep, okay, we'll come." Because I, you know, honestly never asked really. So I think they knew it was something big, and obviously I was like, "There's something important I want to speak to you about." So for me, it was pretty much the speaking of the issue that I had carried for all that time. And afterwards, I realized that speaking about it and in a certain way, kind of transmuting it, I would not be able to be on this call now had I not spoken about it, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was always hiding a part of myself. And it came with a lot of blockages, you know, about being my true self. So, yeah, the Dark Night of the Soul, I mean, the actual event was 3 days on the sofa crying. I'm not going to lie, it was not nice. And it wouldn't let me go until I agreed that I was going to speak about it. So, but it, like me and Colin were explaining before, through the many levels of Kundalini comes liberation. And so that's what happened to me, because I felt completely liberated. And actually, I liberated other people in my family. We all kind of found liberation together, found our voice. And it was profound what happened afterwards, I felt, you know. So as much as it sounds terrible and it sounds scary, it was only scary to admit to myself that I needed to do that. That was the scary thing, you know. But often the most scary things are the ones that we carry inside.
Yeah. And so the most beneficial.
Yeah. And honestly, coming out of it on the other side of it, you know, now I'm so glad that I did. I'm so thankful and grateful for the Kundalini. It's really transformed my life. It really has.
Yeah. Lizzie, thank you so much. And I agree with them. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability. And brilliant question.
Yeah, it was a great question.
Yeah. I kind of want to just maybe add something, which is, you know, can it happen on several occasions?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean,
we just had the warning sign telling us probably it can with that siren in the background. So
I've had other things that happened during the process of Kundalini, which was past lives coming up.
Yeah.
And having to clear some of those traumas.
Yeah.
But they felt very different to this one, because this one was the present life. The past life ones, I didn't feel so emotionally attached to them. Whereas this one, there's always going to be an attachment because it happened to this physical body. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's interesting,
there's more
isn't it?
of an emotional attachment. But yes, it can happen in different, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's in the present, isn't it? I would say
it's in the present.
I would say if anybody what's had which is extremely rare, for anybody what's had a full-blown Kundalini or spiritual awakening, and when I say full-blown, it's difficult to put into language and words, but you can imagine in your way with the awakening what you've had, and then maybe multiply it by whatever you think would be necessary. In that time, in that process, then you're going to experience a true dark night of your soul, of phenomenal gravity.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then you can say, okay, there's likely there's going to be other occasions, and let's kind of put this somewhere else in. Let's throw this other aspect in. Kundalini, the same as a spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening is as we know all to do with energies, but it's also to do with the build-up of a critical mass of energy. So we know we're building energy up every day, and there's a chemical process taking place with our thoughts and our emotions on a very subtle level, or subconscious, minuscule level, subatomic, whatever we want to call it, energetically in those deep spaces. So if we built up sufficient energy, or if we built up specific amount of energy, then we can encounter more than just one dark night of the soul. Because what we're going to do is build an energy up to get us to a point that we want to go to the next stage or level of progress. So, but hi Ava, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. But what we're looking at really is, I don't want to give anybody any hope here, but if you've had a major dark night of the soul where you've cleared possibly the most traumatic energy, what you're carrying in this lifetime, then any other dark night of the soul is probably not only going to be lesser, but more easily manageable as well. That's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think this is my calling to start taking up meditation. I'm hearing the call and it's very loud and clear. And very clear. That's your sister.
I know. I keep telling her, the amount of times I've been sending her links. Oh, do this meditation, do that one, do this one, do that one.
Well, Ingrid, you just happen to be in a beautiful space where we have at least two beautiful minds who lead meditations, and they're in the chat at the minute. One is Pauline, one is Annie. So let me have a look at their name. Because Pauline is I Do Calm. Is it I Do Calm? Annie Claire, there you go. And I Create Calm. I was thinking I Do Calm. I Create Calm. So there you go, Ingrid. These two beautiful souls. Pauline here does meditations every day, and Annie Claire does regular meditations. And there you go. Hang on.
All on the site. Ingrid, you can go on Minorca Consciousness on Facebook, and that's where they do the meditations at specific times. Yes,
we do. Every day, 5 o'clock UK. And then on other occasions, most of the stuff we do anyway, we do several meditations different times. But Pauline and Annie, let's go to Annie's question if that's okay. And there was a couple of comments. Yes. I'd like to just read a couple of comments because I don't want to. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, because we had Chanty. Sometimes sensitivities start eating heavier foods, oily meats for grounding. This might be connected to the raw vegan with Chanda. So in a sense, it is because of increasing sensitivity. Maybe have a look at that, Chanda, to Shanti's that aspect. Chanda, with raw food, I was hungry non-stop and lost a good amount of weight. That's what I was picking up. That's why I thought you had to shift away from that weight loss. When my husband got sick, I said my diet messed up in a big chaos. But okay, I'm going back to it. Good to know. Chanda, okay.
Bless you, Chanda.
What I would try and say to you, Chanda, is try and make that comment your last comment about going backwards, if you can.
Yes, no more critical talk.
Correct. Yeah, and it's funny enough because Pauline, I Create Calm, read Pauline's post, I Create Calm. Start with giving yourself love and accepting yourself. Thank you so much for these beautiful comments, guys. So, Annie Claire, and I want to say hello to Caroline. I missed Caroline. Hi, Caroline. Lovely to see you. Annie Claire, how can you develop light language and connecting with your planetary tribe? As few meditation and trance will be one way, but any other methods? Off you go.
Okay, so I mean, honestly, the meditations. I mean, I went to a healing event, and that's how it happened. It was a. I don't know how to say it on this call. It was a different type of healing event.
Okay, alternative.
And immersion.
Right. No, you can say it as it is. It's okay, Lizzie. Is it? You know.
It was basically psilocybin.
Okay, yes, which is becoming common now.
Okay, so that was the first healing event that I went to. They called it an immersion, and it just basically it was interesting because I pulled they had a load of tarot cards and oracle cards and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I pulled this pack, and it was called it was like a kind of star pack, you know. So I was like, oh, that looks interesting. So like codes, like star codes. So I pulled one, and it was called the Arcturian Chamber of Solitude, and it was just symbols, okay. And I didn't really understand. It was a lot of like circles and just like a door, like, and circles within this door in another circle. And I was looking at it, and I was like, that makes no sense to me. But I'll take it with me, and I'll put it next to my bed. And then I asked one of the healers before we started, I said, what should I do with this card? And he said, when you wake up halfway and you might need to go for a wee or whatever, go to the toilet. When you come back, before you go back in, you just look at the card, and then you go back into your state. And I looked at the card, and oh my God, I got transported through the universe. And the funny thing is, because I picked the card from my planetary system, Arcturus, but I just started seeing all of these geometric symbols going into my third eye. But the first one was the Eye of Ra. You know, the big gold Eye of Ra was like, boom, right in the middle of my head. And then it was just loads of other symbols. And that's how mine activated through this process of going to this event. But obviously, it's not something that I can tell other people to do, but that's what happened. So after that, it was just free flowing. But I did have to, there was, what I had to do when I came back home, because it wasn't just free flowing actually. What I had to do was I had to sit in meditation. I had to ask my guides. I was like, I want to do it again. I want to do it more. I want to do it again. And I kept asking them. And so it kept coming through bit by bit, bit by bit. Yeah. And then it just kept building and building. And the more I did meditation, the more it was coming through. It was almost like I couldn't stop it. It was just flowing, you know. And then once I kind of learned the other parts of mediumship and channeling, trance channeling, and all the rest of it, I've kind of now, I have control of it all, you know, like I can communicate about, and I can communicate about what's going on and what's it for and all this kind of stuff. And they'll tell me what the clearings are for when I'm doing them and that kind of thing. So I have much more of a broader view on it all now. So what else was it? It was light language, and was there something else? Channeling. Channeling for me, I've just been doing it all my life. But you could start it off by doing things like automatic writing. That's quite a good way of kind of starting your channeling journey. Just pen to paper, whatever comes to your mind, and just start writing, because that opens up the channel to be able to get the information. And then the more free flowing it becomes, then you can start asking and connecting with your guides and saying, okay, where's this coming from? Who's sending me this information? And it would start to flow. And I use social media a lot. So when I felt inspired about something, I would go on social media or go on YouTube, and I would find videos and stuff and reels of other people doing the same things that I was interested in. And then that's almost like a download, I think, you know, it opens things up. So it's very much about chasing it. You've got to chase the things. Nothing happens if you stand still.
Action. You mentioned action earlier, and I picked up on that.
We need
and it was
action.
Like, yeah,
you're not going to get anything if you don't take action.
This has been, for me, this is so, I mean, we're talking, it's the time, we're at the point of evolution where now we're in the time of action.
Yeah.
Previously, it was thought, and then it's been feeling. So it's almost like we can say in the intellectual aspect where we're finding the information out, and then we're bringing it into sense it, that's our feeling. So we've got thought and feeling.
Yeah.
Now, right now is the time for action. And,
yes.
and I think this process has been going on possibly for at least 150, 200 years, just in this one kind of pyramid of information, thought, feeling, action. And once we get the momentum going between the three of them, we can almost imagine this spinning, whirling vortex of energy where it then becomes spontaneous. We think of something, we feel it intuitively and spontaneously, it feels correct, bang, we're putting it into action. So, and same again the next time. So we're building this momentum and we're becoming these phenomenal powerhouses, which
Absolutely.
is steaming through this energy of the planet and on this plane of existence. Just another quick thing with Annie, how can I, I've lost it again, let's have a look. How can, sorry, I'll find it, it's okay. It was to do with light language anyway, wasn't it? Thank you. How can it develop light language? Funny enough, Annie, I was looking meanwhile back to the calendar on the 16th, on the Monday, the 16th of June, we have Lissi. She's going to do a session on light language on Monday the 16th. So anybody who's interested in light language, come along and see that with Lissi. Thank you so much for that.
It's going to be dedicated. It's going to be dedicated to light language, light codes, and frequency language. And I will probably also be doing some light language activations for you guys. So definitely come along. We might even be clearing some bonds, contracts, cords, and other exciting things. So it's going to be phenomenal. Honestly, I hope you can, and please share with your friends and everybody that you know might be open to it, because it's going to be great.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
I'm very excited about it.
I am. Do you know? I'm so pleased about this, and I'm so pleased that Annie's just put what she's put, because I thought I know Annie is so busy, and I thought I just hope she's free on that night. So I'm pleased with what you've just put, Annie. And Annie's also put in, and I think this might be for Ingrid, your sister, Peace of Mind Healing Therapist is where you can find Annie with the meditations, etc. So, yeah, that's for Ingrid. I'd really want to say hello to Simon, because this is so funny. Simon Harris. Simon, this is so funny. Trust Simon, trust his guides. So, hi Colin, great to see you and listening. Having gone through two separate, what we call dark nights of the soul, it's important that we continue with our light and the light language as the great turn continues. So, first off, if I may say, Simon, I'm laughing for a reason, you know why anyway. Talk about synchronicity. Today I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, you know, I haven't spoke to Simon recently. I'll have to send him a message.
It always happens.
And it's like,
thank you so much for your message, Simon. That's brilliant. Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
We have, you know, very much messages from my guides and everybody, universal beings that I speak to, is, you know, we really got to put ourselves out there and put that kind of ego part of ourselves aside that kind of stops us from doing things, you know.
Yeah.
Because it will always resonate with some people. It will resonate with the right people. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're here.
And Simon's the president of a spiritualist church in the UK. And
oh, wonderful.
He really won't like me saying this, but he's just such a beautiful mind, and he's done so much to help bring light into this world as well with everybody else. And he's going to get me for that one, because he's so humble. Great to have you with us. I'm sorry, you're not going to get away with it publicly or not. So he's amazing. What he does is brilliant. Now then, Emma, love this so much, so interesting. I have to go now. Thank you so much, Lizzie and Colin. Emma, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely be there. Okay, so if anybody wants to join us in the diary, yes, Annie. Now done. So we've got a few minutes, and we're faced with a bit of a choice here. So we can do one or two things if you want, Lizzie.
Yes, go on.
If you want to, have you got any thoughts? What shall we carry the conversation on, or do you want to do channeling session, or I can do? I've got something in mind which I would like to do, but I can postpone that to another day.
No, go for it. I feel like go for it.
Okay then. So I don't often do this, but while we've been talking, Spirit stepped in. Those guides, those celestial beings. And it's about letting go. So if everybody wishes to, we're just going to do a small, they want me to give everybody a glimpse of the letting go process. Seeing as though letting go is a big thing for this year now, but seeing as that was it. So if you want to, it's just it'll take me 1 minute. So if everybody wants to just relax and close their eyes, and I'm just gonna, this is a glimpse of the letting go, which is very beneficial. So if we just relax and just focus on your breath through your nasal passage, and just breathe light in a comfortable way. And as you breathe in that light in, become that light. Imagine your body is filled with light, the brightest and purest of light. Let it fill your body, your arms, your legs, your chest, your head, your neck. Just be completely filled with light. And now just take your awareness, take your point of focus, your focus of mind, to the point of your third eye. And just rest it there, taking your time. And rest your awareness at the point of your third eye. And just imagine that you can see the third eye energy. There's energy moving, and your awareness is just merging and blending with it. Just briefly, very briefly. And now think of something in your life, this lifetime or any other lifetime you can think of. Nothing too heavy, just a small issue, aspect, fear, anything which you feel you've been carrying. And it's time to let go and transform it. And now just let that aspect appear in front of you. Remember, you are filled with light. You are the light. You're surrounded by your spiritual beings, your spiritual guides. And now imagine your light gets brighter and brighter, and it moves towards that issue. And that issue is private to you. And just imagine as the rays of light go towards that issue now starts to transform, breaking up into smaller, fragmented pieces until it becomes like particles of energy. Have the strength and the courage. Allow it to transform until it's totally dissolved. You might find there's things in there you have to look at, but do it with strength and resilience. Just knowing that your light is indestructible. Let your light totally envelope that issue, and slowly it begins to dissolve. Let yourselves feel whatever you're feeling. Let the emotions move in the natural rhythm. Keeping a strong mind. Looking at the truth of the issue. There's no right and wrong. You're just transforming the energy until it's all now totally dissolved and your light shines that bit brighter. Just feel that love and peace, bringing your awareness back now, away from the point of your third eye. Taking your awareness and focus to that point within you where it normally abides and rests. Feel that love, feel that peace, feel that clarity, that sense of freedom on that one issue. And it's no longer there within you. And just bring your mind back into the space and open your eyes when you're ready. So I hope everybody's okay. Clearly we was inspired to do that.
That was lovely.
That is literally a glimpse of the letting go process, which Spirit showed me many years ago, which I personally underwent and did. So I know it works. We do the letting go retreats. We have got this process coming up at the end of the month, the end of June. It's from Friday to Sunday. It wasn't inspired to get any bookings or anybody to come to attend. It's never like that. We've gone with the flow this evening with pure inspiration from the guys, me and Lissi. But it's one of the most magical ways of releasing any hate and pain and suffering within yourself. So try it whenever you try it, but manage it properly. If you're going to do it on your own, don't take big issues on immediately. Just go in there gently every so often if you wish, or whenever you wish. And take your guides with you, because they're the ones what will look after you. But thank you, yeah, letting go. Right, Lissi, any final words?
I think we covered quite a lot, didn't we?
I think we did. I think
their,
this was
their minds are boggled now.
Well, I'm thinking on the next one, we're up through the dimensions on the next one, guys.
It will be.
I think we've just laid the foundations for it.
Yes.
Lissi, amazing. I don't know what to say.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who's joined us. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Let the light shine. Where can people find you, Lissi? What's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
They can find me.
In touch with you.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, loads of different places. I have personal accounts, which is what this one's running off, which is Lissi Hansen.
Yeah.
But I do also have like a spiritual account that I'm sort of getting up and running. I haven't really done a lot with it yet, but it's called Elizabeth 7, the number 7, and then Hansen. Which she'll have some more stuff on it.
So Elizabeth,
and then the number 7,
and
then Hansen. Yeah. So Elizabeth with an S, not with a set.
Let's see if we can try. I don't know whether Ava will be able to bring that up. If not, we'll put it in the chat anyway afterwards. We'll make sure.
It's fine. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm just going to go to the chat to make sure I haven't missed anything or anyone. We see Lisa was here. Hi, Lisa Callahan. Thank you for joining us. Yes. Oh, there you go. Elizabeth 7 Hansen. Thank you, Ava.
That's it. That's me.
That's where you can find her. Guys, bombard her with all your questions, like language, everything. Oh, right then.
It'll be a full-time job.
We're going to do, if Lizzie's up for it, we know, this is a continuing journey for all of us. So hopefully Lissi will come back and we'll have another conversation.
Oh, most definitely.
And possibly a question and answer session at some point where it's just based on question and answers, and we'll go through that. I think
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, amazing.
Brilliant.
Stunned. So if you stay with us then, Lizzie, we're going to say bye to everybody else. Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Please get in touch with Menorca Consciousness Group. Check out the Facebook page because all our information is there. We're creating a new calendar. I won't go through the list of events. We've got quite a busy fortnight coming up. We've got Chanty on Sunday, amazing, with the Temple of Isis. Please check that out on MCG. We've got Pauline every day, Annie with the moon services. We've got Francis with the crystal grid, etc. And we've got trance course coming up and mediumship modules coming up. So, yeah, I'm trying to. It's funny, isn't it? Because I just want to press the button and cancel everything with MCG, and Spook's going, you can't. And all of a sudden, now it's got busy again. It's like, okay, all right. No,
yeah, but it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be this way.
I'm just playing. I just like to wind Spirit up and everybody.
I know.
Lizzie, you're looking amazing. The energy is beautiful.
Yeah, you
really
too.
Appreciate it. Really, absolutely. And your sister as well. Thanks for joining us.
I know.
Mare, change your photograph, Ria. You're upside down. It looks like the hanging man on the tarot deck, or the hanging woman. Anyway, lots of love, everybody. Contact us if you've got any questions or anything. And thank you for all your support to everybody. We really appreciate you guys supporting both me, Lizzie, Ava. Thanks to Ava for everything in the background.
I know. She does an amazing job.
It just can't happen without her. Nobody would see me and listen to me for a fact because I won't be out there. So
she's brilliant.
She is. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Lots of love, and we'll speak soon.
See you later. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.